Call the meeting to order. It is July 11, 2024. Time is 6:35. Please stand for the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right. All trustees are in attendance except for trustee Student, who is ill, or her husband was really ill and she was afraid she was going to get it and did not want to pass it along. So it's not great. But everyone else is here. And also with the exception of Laura, which we'll get to later. Public comment and input. There is none, but no one is here. Can I have a motion to consent the agenda for the June 13th, 2024 board meeting?
Make a motion to consent the agenda minutes from 6/13/2024.
Okay, first by Johnson, second? Second by Stein. All in favor? Opposed? Okay, you guys have it, so passed. Today we have a presentation by Greta Neubauer, the Assembly of Assembly District 66. Did you want to say anything, Sarah?
Yeah, so I wanted everyone to meet Greta today. She represents us now as the redistricting of our maps. So I want everyone to be familiar with her. She works on a lot of important issues. And you take the floor.
Thank you. Well, glad to have some time with you all. Be informal here, given our number, but Latieri actually interned for me a number of years ago, and so it's very fun to be back and to see you in this role, of course, as well. And we go after the Friday.
Yes.
So,
Greta, thanks
district-wise-
again. I really do appreciate you coming.
Oh,
I've been
yeah.
trying to get together with you for a long time.
Yeah.
So it's well.
So, of course, district lines changed quite a bit earlier this spring. Legislature passed new maps that the governor signed. And as folks around here know, given all the sort of recalls, conversations, a little bit of confusion over which maps are in place. But the way that we generally interpret this is that the lines have changed. And so I do now represent you all here. The 66th district has moved essentially down to KR, like sort of Washington Avenue to KR, and then all the way out to 94, and then up a bit in Mount Pleasant. So used to really represent largely the city of Racine, now come out to Elmwood Park and Sturgeon and Mount Pleasant. So just been out getting to know folks and chatting both on the doors, and then also trying to go to meetings and businesses and things like that. To understand some of the different challenges. We were talking about the Amazon truck issue earlier, and I was like, that wasn't the same issue in the city of Racine, where they could just park on the street. So, you know, a little bit of a different situation, and just good to get to know kind of what you all are hearing about from your constituents. So a couple things that I just wanted to hit on. We, of course, are done with the current legislative session, but had a pretty busy year and a half. It was more bipartisan than we've seen in a while, and there was some good collaboration on a number of issues. I would say probably most relevant to you all would be shared revenues, the local government funding, many hours of negotiations on that issue, and thankfully we were able to send some more dollars to local governments. I would say there's still work to do on that front. I know a number of our municipalities are going to continue to have challenges in making ends meet with costs rising and just needs rising. But that is something that I think was good sort of bipartisan work that did happen this year. We also worked on a bipartisan housing package, recognizing that a lot of people are having a particularly difficult time kind of getting that first home. Really expensive to build a house right now in Wisconsin. And, you know, that's sort of causing a crunch on all different parts of the system when people are not able to get that kind of starter or first or smaller home. And then, of course, there are a lot of things that we wanted to work on that we were not able to get across the finish line this year. I would say pretty high level or sort of top of mind items for me, and that I hear about a lot from people around here. K-12. Obviously, Racine Unified has a pretty big budget deficit going into the next year, and so I hear about that quite a bit. And hear about that from employers as well, who say that, you know, really the school district is one of the things that they hear about from people they're trying to recruit into the area and families wanting to stay. Hear about access to childcare just being really expensive and people having a difficult decision as to whether, frankly, to work or to stay home and take care of their kids, because sometimes it can cost the same. And then emerging water quality issues, obviously we have some aging infrastructure here with lead, but also PFAS contamination becoming, let's say, we're understanding more and more how widespread that is in Wisconsin, the more testing that's done, and so that's something we're really hoping to work on next cycle. We had some good bills that got close, lowering the cost of prescription drugs, mental health care, many things. The way that the process works for us is that the governor does start working on the budget this summer, and then working with agencies and kind of coming up with that draft budget for next January. So it is really helpful for me to hear from you all sooner rather than later about the priorities that you have for the state budget. I historically have really tried to meet with local officials to understand those things so that we can go then make those recommendations to the governor, and he's been pretty good about including those in his budget. I expect that there's going to be a little difference in the balance of power in Madison next year with the new maps, and so that will mean that we have more ability to sort of leverage that to get some things done. Obviously, Racine County has a number of kind of shared priorities across different municipalities. The county executives work on the mental health treatment center and the youth facility, and generally investing in the infrastructure in our area as well. So I think those are the main things I wanted to cover. Just wanted to give you all a little bit of a sense of some of the things I've been hearing about, some of the priorities going into next year. If we have time and you all want to share thoughts with me now, or I'm happy to sit down with folks individually too, if you've got more detailed things that you'd like to share with me about what you think we should really be focusing on next year.
Anything for Brad? I don't think you can help us. Well, go ahead.
Oh, no, I don't give me a.
Off here, okay.
Yeah.
I don't think you can help us with the water issue that we have with Racine right now. Right. Do you know about the water issue that we're having?
I have started to get a little bit of an understanding.
We've got our attorney looking into it because there's it's very, they're asking us, we had a 50-year agreement and now we're up for renewal, but it made it sound like all of a sudden it was expiring and we had to come to an agreement, but the city of Racine is not doing great at working with us to fill us in as to what they need from us. And
this is separate from the negotiation with Mount Pleasant. On the water.
That's a good question.
North Bay is in the same position we're in.
Okay.
We're connected to the city's water, and we got a letter, and they're final notice, we're not sending you this again. It was the first time we got anything in January. And we're final notice, this is the first time we've seen anything. And it was this is expiring after this year, and you need to renegotiate. We're not in the sewer pact at all, and we don't want to be a part of the sewer pact because then we pay all these back taxes. So we're trying to work with our attorney, and he's trying to work with the city to get some answers, but they're not giving us a lot of answers at all. It's very hard to find anything out from the office. And I don't think it's truly, it's expiring. I think they're saying it's a renewal. But they asked us, where is the contract from 50 years? What do you guys have? We don't have anything. We've looked in all of our records, and neither does North Bay.
Do you know, is it supposed to expire now?
It's supposed to expire in 2025.
Okay.
They sent us, January 2025. So I'm just letting you know, in case you want to know more about that and want to help us in any way.
Yeah,
Our attorney is also really having a hard time finding the answers, and he's talked to, I can't think of his name off the top of my head, in the water department. If you said it, I'd be like, yes. And I know there's new administration in.
I can look into it. I also can see if, I don't know if we would have records at the state level, but
I would just love to know if there's anything you know from your end.
Yeah.
The next person, Ernie told me that, Ernie, our former president, even told me to reach out to Jonathan Delgrave, who unfortunately is no longer, that would have been my next step. And it's just been a lot, I think our attorney's really kind of stuck. And I think the village of North Bay on the north side of Racine also going through this exact same thing, and they're doing the same stuff to them, and they're not getting any answers either.
Okay, yeah, I didn't know about that. I knew there was some things going on with Mount Pleasant, but I didn't know that you all in North Bay.
I think it's, if I need to send you anything, if you want to see anything, I can send you what we know. But that's the one thing that comes to mind that we're really struggling with right now.
Yeah, why don't you send me what you have,
okay.
and I'll look into it and talk to the city as well.
And then for Racine County, the one thing that we're struggling with is we are not in charge of Lathrop Avenue. That is a county highway. And Ernie Rossi is now our county supervisor, and he was our former president, and he also knows, and supposedly it's gonna be fixed in 2025. We are also doing road work in 2025,
Okay.
but Brian lives on Lathrop Avenue, and if you just drive down that stretch, it is filled with potholes. And we've gotten complaints from people, we can't physically do anything because it's part of the village, but it's not our, so we're just trying to like. put
Figure out
some-
the timeline?
Yes,
Okay.
figure out a timeline, and I've heard, yes, it's gonna be fixed 2025, but I just, like, it would be great, even if they coordinated with us when we get our roads done next year, if they did it at the same time that we're doing all of our road work. People, I've already got a crabby email from someone who was like, your road gave me a flat tire, and I'm like, this is not, like, this looks poorly on the village.
Right.
But it's not our responsibility, it's Racine County's responsibility. Another thing, Ernie asked me to John, but Ernie was gonna look into it for us too, so.
Yeah.
Those are just two things, Greta, that comes to mind that, like, I feel we are having a hard time getting answers
Yeah.
to, and they're bigger problems in our village. Those are probably the two biggest.
Yeah, great. I'm super happy to look into those.
Okay. Do you guys think of anything else that, like,
Go ahead.
Two things that came to mind for me is more future stuff.
Okay.
It's not necessarily
Yeah.
immediate, but the roads and so on. But one example would be our overhead electric and phone line system. If there's a way to put that underground, like all the developments are, that would be great. Another thing that I've often thought of is solar and wind help. I mean, wouldn't it be great if this was like the first village in Wisconsin? It's like off-grid, you know what I mean? We've got a cell tower over there that we rent out,
Yeah.
and put in a windmill, put in some solar. Let's get some help with that
Yeah.
kind of thing.
Have you all talked with We Energies at all?
No.
Okay.
First I brought it up.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, I would be interested to know what their plans are. Obviously, you don't have like a huge amount of space for sort of big
Sure.
developments here, but
Just
in the region, there's a number of things happening, and then obviously it's sort of the grant updates so that that can.
Well, I think the underground system, I mean, I know
Yeah.
it's not a lot you could probably do about it, but, you know, that would be an upgrade that the village would probably have to invest in, but,
well,
yes.
just bringing that up, I don't know, Greta, if there's any way that at the state level that we could get help. We have these lights in our village that are, been here since the village was created over 60 years ago. And all of the power lines are underneath the sewer lines. Now, I wasn't here 60 years ago. I did not suggest that that would be a great, but we know we're gonna have to replace these because we're right now band-aiding them to make them work.
Yeah.
And I don't know if there's anything at the state level that they can do to help us fix that. So, because we love our little village lights, we have like probably 4 street lights that are run by Re-Energies, and the rest are done internally through the village. And that's just one of those things that, like, we know the cost, we've looked into the cost. Does anybody remember what the cost was? It was like $800,000.
Yeah, about $1 million.
It's a ton of money, and I mean, that will sink us.
Yeah.
I feel like if we were to, so we're trying to figure out a plan of like, how can we make this work to fix it when all these lights go out? Because we definitely need them.
Right.
But they're small street lights. They're not like, they're like lampposts. But they're throughout the entire village. And that's the other, that would be, I would say, the Lathrop Avenue, the water issue that we're having, and the street lights are like our 3 main concerns going
So
forward.
just tell me, so it's infrastructure that you own that's under the sewer line. It's separate from We Energies infrastructure.
I don't know if there's anything, I just threw it out there.
Interesting.
Just give me more information.
Yeah, that's good to know what's going on. Yeah.
I don't know if there's a grant, I don't know if there's anything that
Right.
like anybody could ever help us with, because we just look at that and go, is this just a cost that we're gonna have to, it's just a lot of money.
Right.
And people get really upset when the lights, because there have been times when like they freeze, and then the lights will go off, and it'll be like the middle of winter, and then you get like 1 million phone calls, like, why are the lights on? And then we have to, it's usually because something, yeah, it is a safety thing.
Yeah, and so right now it's just like issues come up and it's sort of band-aided.
Yeah, so,
Some days it's just gonna be.
Right.
yeah.
Do you have a sense of that? Have you gotten any kind of estimate of like?
It's like $800,000 supposed to be.
And like, are they like, you need to do it now? or-
No, we're still band-aiding,
Yeah.
and it's working, but I'm just, we do know we need to budget for it in the future.
Okay.
We realized it when we started redoing the roads, where, yeah, Ernie actually realized it, and was like, just so you know, this is what's going on, so.
Yeah, if we would have to replace it, we would likely have to do some kind of special referendum to raise the funds to do it, to get it done quicker, or we have to choose
Yeah.
the capital lights, which then has a safety issue, so, yeah, if there is anything.
Any advice or anything out there?
Yeah.
Just
Yeah,
thoughts?
no, can look into it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Those are all my thoughts.
Yeah. Any
Yeah.
other things?
I will tomorrow, I'm sure.
I can leave my information, so, yeah.
She's certainly available.
Well, that's great, and yeah, I'll leave my information. The other thing, my offices can be very helpful in terms of sort of research. So we and like the Legislative Reference Bureau and Council in the Capitol have a lot of capacity. If you've got like questions about state law or things like this, like
Well,
are there
about the
programs
water
available for
as
these
a-
kinds of
yeah.
things?
And what
Obviously,
you guys
we
have-
can't like be your legal counsel.
No,
but we
no.
can like look at what is in state law or what programs exist.
Or has anybody
agencies.
else dealt with this anywhere else in Wisconsin,
Right.
with the
Those
city
kind of
versus the
things.
village,
Yeah.
and like connection to water?
Right.
What else is happening
I
out there?
think we have a bit of a unique situation on that, honestly.
Mhm.
Yeah. It's my understanding. So, yeah, I
I'm
can
just waiting, I don't want them to like, we're turning off the water, sorry.
Yeah, right.
It's a little scary.
Yeah, and it sounds like really, right now, the biggest issue is just communication and understanding sort of what the.
And it's just hard, we're not getting anything back.
And have they said like there's a change in terms or something, or it's just?
The document is so old, I mean, it's like, from a mimeograph
Right,
machine,
yeah.
and like, you can barely read it.
Right.
And we're like, we don't even know, and the term, they're like, it really isn't a termination or expiring, it's just we need to renew it. I'm like, but that's not what the document says. What's in writing makes me very nervous.
Right.
Versus what you're telling me, but we're also just not getting a lot of information from them. So it's just, and I know North Bay, I just talked to the North Bay president before the 4th of July, and he's
Okay.
like, we have not heard a peep. And they're asking the same questions too, so.
Okay, yeah.
That's
We can start working on it.
okay.
Yeah.
So, but we also have our attorney. I just wondered if there's
Yeah,
anything.
yeah.
Or if you end up talking to Corey,
Yeah,
if he has any info.
right. No, we
Corey,
talked.
we'd love to talk to you. Fill
Yeah.
us in.
It sounds like that's the request. Yeah. Okay.
So, okay, I don't have anything else, anybody else? Cool, all right, thanks, Catherine. You
Yeah,
can have
Thank
this
you
around.
so much.
Thanks for coming.
Yeah. I'll hang out for a little bit if that's okay.
Sure.
I don't know what's going on with
Okay, so, report from the sheriff is not here at the moment. I just have a little bit to report, and Lateria's gonna take on most of it, because we met earlier today. So, first, Tunes on Taylor, I'm gonna speak just for Linda, because she's not here. Barb, do you wanna say anything about Tunes on Taylor? Since you're the other events person?
Right, I mean, the one we had,
Yeah.
I just heard a little bit on the food truck that they weren't real happy with.
Right, and I don't think we're using that again.
Oh,
What was the food truck? It was, I can't think of the
It
name.
was a taco something, but it wasn't,
No, it was, on the street, not tacos on the street, no, I don't remember, but it was not,
The last one we had?
yes,
That was a barbecue thing.
what was it
oh,
called?
that's right, that's right.
Barbecue?
Yes,
And
it was
it was
barbecue.
terrible.
It was
Sorry, you're watching the video?
Sorry.
They were, yeah, we will not have them back. They were also too expensive.
Yeah,
But we have a different group for the second Tunes on Taylor. And obviously a different band, so please, if you're available, come on out, it's next Tuesday.
Right here, in front here.
And then Linda was gonna help me put together like a flyer, just to let people know of events. I thought it would be nice to maybe put on doors, so maybe Barb, between you and myself, and
Yep.
maybe Jen, and the kids in the neighborhood, just to flyer people's doors, because I'd like people to know about Tunes on Taylor in July, Tunes on Taylor in August,
yes.
National Night Out in August, and then just remind them about the car show, because those are our 4 major events, and then like maybe a little reminder at the bottom that says, save the date for the Christmas party or something. So Linda and I talked yesterday about that, and I just think it's good to have those community events. And National Night Out will probably look similar to what it was last year and the last previous years. It's just a nice event to get everybody out. It's a nice way to thank our sheriff and our fire department and all of those, and usually give them goodie bags, and work on getting the bounce house and things for kids to do, and hopefully adults just to chat and whatnot. I can never think of anything for the adults to do, they never want to do anything. They want to talk. So those are couple events that are coming up.
Do we have bands for next month as well?
Yes, so I think we're all good. I
So
think
we're set this
we've
year?
got, yes, I think Linda and Jen have booked 2 bands.
Okay.
Yes.
Does anyone do like a count, like a head count, about like attendance?
I feel like I have in the past. This last one, I feel like there are about 80 people here.
Yeah, some.
Yeah. And I will have popcorn again. My son really enjoyed selling popcorn.
Nice.
He loved it. He's like, can I go out around? Yes, you can, Joe.
Absolutely.
So the little library, there's one little library. The second one, I believe, is finished. John just hasn't put it up. And then one of our residents was a little unhappy with me because it was not as big as she thought it would be. And I was like, it really is just the first installation. It's one part of there's another one coming. And then I did go back with Latiria and we looked at the records and she did give a sizable donation and I'm trying to make it right. I said, this is what happened. Last year you gave us donations. Somebody in the village said they were going to build it. It took him 9 months and then he changed his mind and said he couldn't build it any longer, which I had a feeling was going to happen with this president. And so then Latiria and I just decided to order some little libraries. And she just wanted, if you've ever seen the one in the subdivision to the southwest, it's gorgeous. Sue Gorman, who's a former teacher, she and her husband put it up, and it's like got a bench. It's dedicated to someone who passed away.
I saw.
It's got electricity. It's beautiful.
Yeah. Dog treats.
I was like, so my vision is, because she did give a sizable donation, we have these 2 that Linda painted that are gorgeous. And Latiria and I are probably going to look at the little library site. They're just really expensive, but her donation would cover that. So we're gonna have 3. We're gonna have 3 little libraries. We're gonna have 2 little ones and 1 big
All
one.
at the park?
And yes, all at the park. It's gonna be one is going to be for children, one is going to be for young adults, and the large one will be for adults.
Oh.
And that is what I'm going to do, and I'm trying to make it right. And I love reading. You know, I teach English. Ken loves reading. He also teaches English, but he's retired. That's okay. And so I think that's how I'm gonna resurrect myself.
That's a good
I'm
idea.
wondering, and Tia, I know,
And I'll make signs, because I'm crafty.
since it's before the school year, I mean, it would take us a little while to get organized, but I know, I believe Park High School, one of their academies, they do projects like that, so I know the box that you see at North Beach, and there's one at North Beach and one at, the other beach, the big beach,
Zuby, oh,
would be, that will be life preservation.
oh, you wonder if they would do a project?
If-
I would go that route, except we've already waited a year,
Okay.
and I just am at the point where I'm like, we're just ordering this, forget it. I can't wait any
Okay.
longer, like, just get it in the.
I don't want to
calendar,
do it for me before. but-
Well, and she was kind of, and then I started crying on the phone. I was like, it's been a really hard year, and I'm not trying to, believe me, I have big visions too. And it was just a really bad day. So she felt terrible, but I was like, I'm sorry. This is not what I anticipated either, and please ignore me. But we're gonna add to it, we're gonna make it right, and it's just gonna be better. So we're gonna do 3. And it's gonna be a tree, a little tri-little library. So that's where we're going. And I think if you've been on Facebook or you've been on the village website or village Facebook page, our young community children put in a butterfly garden.
That is so nice. We walked over
The
there.
Elstros, 2 of my children, Jonah and Charlotte in my home, and then Kaylee Stragwhite. They have been working on this for 2 years. They've raised money, they picked up dog poop, they walked dogs, they raked leaves, they did all sorts of things for all different people, and they raised about $200. And their vision, Grace, the oldest Elstro, really wanted to save the monarchs. So then it became this, let's put it in a butterfly garden. And so Laura Rude talked to somebody outside of the community, got word of it. Larry, who lives over by St. Lucy's, doesn't even live in the village. And he really wanted to help. So he came over on Saturday. He ended up buying all the plants for the kids, and then gave them a lesson on planting. It is much bigger than we thought it would be.
Oh, okay.
We did not plan on it. Michelle and I were like, oh, we're going to get some milkweed. It'll be great. And it was like, this is a lot of plants. So we don't have a water source in the park.
I was gonna ask, what's gonna?
So my father-in-law, who you know is living with us currently because of this house fire situation, saw the butterfly garden, heard that we didn't have a water source, wanted to be a part of it, also donated $200 for Charlotte to use. So Charlotte and I, well, Charles and I really went out and bought a hose. Charlotte and I went and bought a few more decorations. We bought some like little wood things from Menards to go around it as a border. And now we asked the Bowers that live directly behind the park if we could hook up to their water source, and we will give them like a credit on their water bill for $30. So every day, it's really got to be the kids' job, but we're like Charlotte and I have been over there every day watering because you have to do that for the first 2 weeks, Larry told us. First 2 weeks are very important. So we're watering the plants, and the Bowers have been very nice. So we just leave the hose over there for those shrink hoses, and so that's been really nice. And they said that was fine. But it's been, the kids, it was really cool. But the kids
And you're telling a nice job.
very proud of them. So I'm worried about the weeds, but I think we'll get there. We'll make the kids take care of it. It'll be fine.
Not the same thing. It's gonna get full of weeds right quick.
Let's hope not. He did rototill and we did put in mulch. We'll see how it goes. We've got something else. Like Larry is also checking on it every day. I get a text message from him every day. He drives by and he tells us the days the black-eyed Susans are looking a little limp. Can you go over and water more? Sure, Larry. Thank you. Yeah. So, okay. Two more things for me. I am requesting that we move the board meeting on August 8th to August 15th because I will be out of town. I will talk to Kendall and we'll send out a message to you. It's my 20-year anniversary, so we're going out of town. You'll be gone on the 15th? Okay. Oh, you'll be out in the country. Yeah. So Ken is to write down Ken will be in that week. So mark your calendars that we're going to have it on the 15th. I thought that I almost went an earlier time, but I felt like I shouldn't miss National Night Out. I thought, oh, we could just move the board meeting, then I don't miss anything. It is my first week back to school, but, and then, okay, this is kind of, we can't really vote on this because it's just my notes. But Terry and I went over to Building 5 today. Our new renters are in. Juan Morales. Lovely tenant. I really like him. The language barrier is a little hard because he does not speak a lot of English, but they are doing a phenomenal job in the building. They are, and if you've been in Building 5 recently, all the different doors are different colors. He wants to paint them. It's all the trim is going to be gray. The building, all the walls will be white. It's a church that's going in there. He is a handyman. He said when the gutters need to be fixed, we can work with him. He will help us fix the gutters, which we did have an issue with Building 4 with the gutters just this past weekend. He was really great. He had one request. They'll be using the kitchen a lot, and he said, I'd really, really like new cabinets in the kitchen. Now, this doesn't mean like renovating an entire kitchen, but I did look at the cabinets. They are quite old. They've been painted. They don't necessarily shut. A couple doors are missing. If I can find, and he doesn't necessarily even want upper cabinets. He really just wants some lower cabinets. They already have a countertop in place. That doesn't need to be replaced. The sink doesn't need to be replaced.
It's a residential kitchen, not a commercial kitchen.
Yes, it's just because I'm sure they're going to cook a lot and do different things for their churchgoers. They really, he's praying to God that maybe we can give him some new cabinets. It doesn't have to be super expensive, but he's already put in new lights in every single room. He's fixed the lighting above in the hallway. The man is putting a lot of effort into this building, but he said, is there any way you could help me update this kitchen?
Is he okay to use ones?
I think so, but he didn't say it had to be anywhere.
That are decent?
Yeah.
I got it.
Okay, so let's talk.
Yeah.
I don't want to break the budget, but I do know that we took out a loan for a couple things, and Lettieri and I went through actually pretty much all the buildings except for Building 1 today, and Building 4 looks so fantastic. They do such a nice job. They keep things so clean. It looks so great. Building 2, you've been in the spa. You know what that looks like. We're working on. We'll talk about Building 2 and the other rental possibility later. But I just feel like this tenant, like this would be a really.
How long is this lease?
a year, but I could see him sticking around.
Do you think the new cabinets would be considered an investment to improve the property?
Yes,
Regardless of who's there?
yes, 100%.
Go ahead, say again.
They definitely need, you know, and, yeah.
Well, like we updated the basketball courts, partially because the renters wanted it, but also because it improves the property.
Well, and I just feel like this is one of those things that we're not gonna have to replace the countertops. It's just, and he said, I don't even need upper cabinets, I really need lower cabinets. And they're just in really terrible shape. Anybody against that? I'm not gonna go over,
I mean, I would price out and see what it looks like
Right.
before we say.
no, it's not gonna be,
I know.
my hope would be like $3,000. That'd be the most. Kelly's right.
Well,
And the money goes.
Yes, well, then Kelly, can I call you and
Yes.
give you a price?
Yes, I agree.
Okay. Maybe you and I can look at some things together.
Yeah.
And Ken, could you possibly just look at some used cabinets?
Yeah.
Because, that are in decent shape. These are just used that have been painted and they're really gross.
yeah, I mean, the way I see it is if it's improving the property, that means it's improving our investment and it's improving our income potential.
It really is his only request. He said, I'm basically doing everything else. I'm putting in new carpeting here, I'm putting in new carpeting there. I don't think this is gonna be like, in building two with the pastor that wanted us to fix and fix and fix. I think he really said this is the only thing I'm really asking for.
I'm gonna use the kitchen
A lot. So, okay, so I will be talking to the two of you. All right. President Hinkle, Trustee Hinkle, do you have anything to add?
There's a dead tree on, what's the street coming out?
Kensington.
Kensington, that you and I went and looked at, it's dead, needs to come down, so that's in the process. And the only other thing really is the fence thing that I brought up to you, other people probably did too.
Oh, the chain link
The
fence.
chain link thing.
And we talked to him.
It's not really my realm, but
We talked to him today. And then he called Kendall and wanted a permit for it. And we're like, no, that's not what we told you. You can't have a permit for the fence, it has to come down. He's a new
What's he
resident.
put in there?
It's a dog kennel,
Does he have a dog?
I guess.
this
What
thing's
kind of
huge.
dog?
I haven't seen the
I feel
dog
like it's
yet,
gotta
but
be a
I mean,
hippo.
it's big.
But Brian said, was got an elephant moving in
I
this?
know, it's huge.
It's a nightmare going on in the backyard and the side of the garage. It's an absolute
So-
eyesore.
Yeah.
But then I looked inside, I dropped
What's all
down
those
by there today, dropped off a welcome
containers
packet,
there?
and the house looks lovely inside.
Yeah,
I'm sure.
Are they
For a
cat
little
litter or what? I
They are
mean,
cabinet boxes.
Wait,
That's what I thought.
My guess.
But there must be, what, 15
Plant
of them?
tomatoes on them.
Of what?
There's the
Containers.
litter box containers on the side of
Those
the.
plastic buckets.
Plastic
They do
bucket.
have cats, I saw them on the window.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
That's a lot of them.
how many are allowed?
whole side of the garage.
Oh, yeah.
So-
Just a quick thing I wanted to comment about though. So when they moved in, they clearly didn't know this. Yes. Whose responsibility, obviously, is to figure out, okay, what are the ordinances about this, and that?
Well, I told him that.
Who's gonna do that?
So it's really, part, okay, so when I talked to him on the phone with Sherry today, we said, you know, a realtor should be sharing, I mean, it's Elmo Park, we have our own ordinances. But I know, and I've talked to a couple residents about this that have been here for a long time, realtors aren't gonna do this because some people might look at our ordinances and then they don't wanna buy, and then
Yeah.
the realtor loses the sale. So I don't know if there's a way for us to get around that, to let people know.
Not really.
I know when I moved into the neighborhood, we looked things up.
Right.
Like, that's just our responsibility, and I feel as a homeowner, that's part of your responsibility. You have to figure out where you're living, and I know Charles looked, he was like, hey, can we like change our fence if we want? No, okay.
So my comment on that would be, if it's something that big, you should look into it.
And he came from the city of Racine, and he said, well, we were never, this was always allowed in the city of Racine. I said, well, you're not in the city of Racine, unfortunately.
That's
Well, you're in
Big
Elmwood
Racine.
Park, and this is just a village ordinance, and I'm
It's a
sorry.
big deal. That's like, building a huge chicken coop or something.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You want to know whether you can. If that's your deal, if you like, homing pigeons or whatever, you want to be sure it's allowed.
Yeah.
That's
But I just don't know if I don't think real estate agents would work with us to.
No, they won't, because
No, they
they're
won't.
passing the buck to us.
And some of them, and I shouldn't speak, but I mean, some of them aren't experienced enough to know that they should check.
True.
Because
Correct.
they're in, they're out, oh, now they got a different job, you know what I
Correct,
mean?
yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, agreed.
But it's, I think it was one of those, ask for forgiveness, not for permission kind of things, because
Well, we had a very straightforward, like, you cannot have this, blah, blah, blah,
Correct.
this is what you could do.
Correct.
And then
So
he
it's-
emailed Kendall.
I mean,
And then Kendall was like, so this is, and we're like, that is not what we told him on the phone. And I was with material on
I mean,
the
the only
phone,
thing you can
or when he
do
called us.
is every resident gets a copy, printed copy when they move in, but if that's after
Well,
the sale, you can't, there's,
Right,
I mean,
there's no good
There
way.
has to be some, on the owner, I mean, we moved here because there was a property that I wanted, that we couldn't put a fence up because of the way the property was, and so we didn't buy the house.
Right.
There's, you can't, I didn't know, that's not,
No, it's not,
it's not,
this.
it's.
Okay,
Do a lot of things on that.
trustee Hinkle, you have nothing else to report, right? Trustee Johnson,
No, it's just a mess over there.
Lathrop Avenue? Yeah. Trying. Trustee Stein,
No report.
trustee Whitick,
I just had, a complaint about the wood that's on the walkway up to that house on MacArthur. I've heard a couple of people comment, like, how long is it gonna be there before it disappears?
yeah, and I don't know, Terry and I'll talk about that. You know where that is, right?
Yes. Yep, we were gonna send a letter, and then we didn't send a letter because he had his tree stump removed,
Yeah.
and it's just the wood, and we don't have an ordinance or anything.
We can just double check. Okay. Terry has a couple things to talk about.
Alrighty, so for the windows project, so they are in building 4, and they'll be moving to building 1 next. So I'm thinking in the next week or 2, we will be almost complete. And then after that, we'll be moving to building 3 as well.
And it's going great.
Yes, and they're moving very fast, the windows are really good, we're excited when they come to building 1. And we're still waiting on the doors to get put in too, and the locks, so that'll be coming up next week. And then for building 5, we did get a tenant in there. The church's name is Casa de Oración, so House of Prayer in Spanish. It's a 1-year lease. We did that just because we want to get to know the tenant. So before we sign like 3-year leases, we think they'll stay for a long time, but we just want to make sure that they are a good fit and they want to stay as well.
They seem lovely, very lovely. I
Yeah.
really liked them.
Yeah, so we're excited about that. And then we're still working with Randy Savaglio in building 2. We did have an interested candidate. Actually, they are CDRF, which is a kind of like a medical facility. I'll pass this down. This is something that we received yesterday, and I wanted to discuss that with everyone. Just because before for building 5, we had a prospective tenant. They wanted to open a youth family home for children who were displaced as well. And it's sort of like that, but CDRF is more medical. Building 2, Shelley has a medical spot, so she's approved as a medical facility, so the whole building is already approved medical. We did not go with the youth facility just because there's a different standard for youth. There'll be overnight, a lot of different things like that. But this one is a little bit different, so we just want to kind of get your idea.
And this is
So
also
what do you think of
overnight?
this?
This is
Yes,
also
this is
overnight?
24-hour care for adult seniors.
And it's okay to say if we don't agree. We just tell Randy, like, if we don't think this is a good fit.
There's a few homes over on Wheelock
Yes,
that
so,
are.
Oh, yeah.
so adult family homes are 3 to 4 people, CRFs are 5 to like
5 or more.
5 or more,
I
yeah.
can't figure, well, Terry and I have been in that building. If you could picture that building, there's one room in the front, there's one room where that ex-family worship, that's where like their church was. It's not very big, and then there's a basement.
Yes.
We cannot figure out how they're gonna turn this
Yeah,
into. I just am having a really hard time picturing it, and also, it's, I mean, we can't invest, we're not investing any money in them, like, we can't be like, oh yeah, let's do this, we're gonna update this, like,
Right.
I mean, the church in Building 5, they're doing all their renovations on their own besides the ask of new cabinets.
Right.
I just don't see how that's possible.
Yeah, they would definitely need a lot of renovations for
And
stable
my,
fire
and you
entries.
know, my biggest concern is also the fact that the spa is a quiet space, and we have to have somebody, a quiet office on the other side. Like, building one tends to be pretty quiet, because it's just office space, but I just don't know if this is a good fit. Thoughts?
I agree.
Have they asked?
I don't quite get how it would.
Yeah,
It is a small space, so they said building 5 was too big, but then it's CRF,
So-
I thought building 5 would be a good fit.
Maybe they could give us more information, what are they planning to do, divide the area,
That's what I was
or
thinking.
how?
Mhm.
Yeah, I would like to, I guess, maybe know more. Like, I just don't
Yes.
know how this is gonna
Where do
work.
they plan to put 5 people?
Yeah, I would think
At
it'd be
least
small.
Seven.
Yeah,
We'll say
it's
5
small.
to 7.
And I know for CRF, you do have to get
Yeah.
a sprinkler system installed, different requirements like that. And you have a large area of people.
It just seems, and maybe they have a lot of money, they have to know also that we're not gonna put money in for them to turn this into a
No.
facility that they want.
Yeah, it would be a big project.
No, because I would think if they do medical, they would need a lot of electrical.
And we don't, it's just like, I can't figure out the upstairs, downstairs thing. It's not like there's an elevator, there's not,
I don't know, and that's, and would that be, I mean, I guess that'd be their liability if they were taking people up and downstairs with medical issues, but.
I can't figure it
Yeah,
out. So
it's
maybe
pretty
Letiria would
basic.
just ask for more,
This
like,
is pretty general.
mhm,
I would
here,
want to
that's
see more
down.
detailed stuff, how they plan to actually do it.
So,
Yeah, so I can reach out, get more information on it, but I just wanted to bring it to everyone's attention.
5 or more.
Yeah.
So next thing there's 7 people, no.
I just,
They probably would be.
I'm a little worried about
patients
the
per room.
I'm worried about the overnight piece.
Yeah.
That is
Yeah,
concerning.
well,
That's what I think they do, and then like, we have activities in the village and,
Yeah.
Right,
Yeah.
right, yeah, when we have our tunes, and then are we gonna be too loud for them because they've got people sleeping or something?
or then we have to worry about their traffic in and out, and, you know what I mean?
It seems like it should be like a 9 to 5 office.
Yeah,
just
we
the-
been using, and that's part of the reason we told the youth facility, because we've been using the space for commercial space, not residential, in a long time. So
Right.
it's a lot of conversion when you, and different rules when you switch to residential style. Yeah.
Okay, then I would just tell Randy.
Maybe.
I think it's here, yeah.
Yep.
Okay, we'll tell Randy no, please keep looking, or please keep advertising.
It doesn't, it just, yeah, it,
No, that's a good point, especially because we do have activities over here, I think that would be hard.
yeah. Because, yeah, they've got, you know, so you've got 5 people, they're dropping off at the same time, we're picking up at the same time.
Well, and I wish
They've got visitors.
Linda was here, because she was gonna open up an adult daycare where the spa is right now, but like during COVID, like COVID kind of killed her plan. But it was an adult daycare, it was not overnight.
Yeah, the
And I
overnight.
feel like that's very different, the overnight
Yeah.
piece,
So
so.
you have, you have visitors during our tunes on Taylor, and yeah, the parking's, I mean, it's tight as it is, so, yeah. Or the
Okay.
car show,
Yeah.
it just doesn't feel like it's
Agreed.
great.
Okay, tell Randy no.
We don't want to cause more problems for ourselves.
Yes.
And some.
No. Don't go there.
And then I did put on a list, maybe talking about, for the future, I know we worked on the windows and the furnaces, but just like general renovations, just to, keep everything top notch in all buildings. Just because it's such a nice property and we want to just stay, current with everything, so if there's anything we can identify, work on. Like how we updated the basketball hoops and things like that, so, Building 5, like how he's asking for a kitchen, maybe just identify what we could do to improve it.
Is there,
Makes sense.
for that kind of thing, is there like a way to, I don't know, like spreadsheet, just kind of, you know, as those things pop in, just kind of add them to a list, and then as we, you know, maybe if we, you know, okay, so we've got this list on, to replace the lower kitchen cabinets in the site, but we also wanted to do this, maybe do things at the same time, and maybe save time on labor, or if we have like 3 things that are, okay, but if we can get them all knocked out at one time, there's a way to kind of keep track of that.
Things, yeah.
As
Okay.
opposed to just Post-its and Excel spreadsheets.
Yeah.
There are spreadsheets, yeah. I'll have to figure out.
Start a
If
spreadsheet.
you can think of anything, yeah.
Yeah,
We have the kitchen in Building 5 and then Building 1.
yeah.
And then we have the basketball court in the
Yeah.
back that no one uses, so maybe
Yeah.
bring that back to life.
Yeah.
So that if we, yeah.
And then the gazebo is something I wanted to talk about because that's the only thing on our checklist that we haven't really worked on. I know we talked about it at previous board meetings, so I'm just kind of revisiting that to get a gazebo.
And I know-
We have the concrete slab.
Kurt had like a plan, sort of, like he had an idea, and we have, like, Kurt is just not doing well. So
So do we just need someone?
I feel like we need to start from scratch again,
And just,
start looking for things.
like, do you just need like a lead to take control and maybe like, bids and?
Yes, I think so, and I think, Linda brought up, you can get ones off of here, I just don't
Right.
want something that we buy that ends
Right.
up falling apart.
Right,
in
no, I
like 3 years.
totally agree, because I think.
Does anyone want to take that job on?
I'm kind of intrigued by it. I'm not
Would you
gonna
like to
lie.
look into it,
I'm
guys?
not gonna lie, I've
Okay.
kind of, it's sort of been on my radar to.
That would be
to come
awesome
up with-
if you could
with
maybe,
something for that.
I'm writing you down, and you're gonna just look and maybe come into the next board meeting.
I'll see what I can.
Just if you could look at a couple different types and see how much things
Do you
are.
know off the top, what the,
The slab,
yeah,
no.
okay, I'll measure it, it's fine.
And then maybe looking into like electricity. if it could be.
I don't know if we need it yet, but we can add it.
I mean, I think, yeah, if you're gonna look into it, scenarios.
We do
Here's
have-
scenario one, scenario two, scenario
We
three.
do have an electric
Good, better,
outlet
yes.
at that pole,
Okay.
right behind.
Okay.
So there is, we can run electrical from it, which is why we didn't put it there, but I don't think it's a hard fix. A hard thing to do.
And we don't have any, do we have any electricians that we work with, or is this like starting from scratch?
No, we use
completely?
RIC, we usually use Rick Electric or RIC
Okay.
Electric.
Just to kind of.
They do pretty much, they do a lot of stuff for us.
It might be, if we're gonna put a gazebo and maybe put some lights in there with switches.
Might be a
We're
good
gonna do it,
thing.
it might, I mean, unless
Yeah.
it's an astronomical cost, but
Just something,
Look into getting something built as well.
that's what I'm thinking. I think,
I know Kelly,
You
or,
get stuff, but,
That's already-
you need-
yeah.
so Greta, are you aware of any kind of park improvement grants available at the state level that we
Oh,
would
look.
be,
that'd be
would
great.
be able to
Yeah.
take advantage of? See, I knew there was something I'd ask you.
you.
Oh, well, Brian's got a gazebo guy. Talk to Kelly, she's in charge of that.
See?
Yeah,
Rick's gonna be mad at me.
I gotta get.
Okay.
Yeah, electrician guy.
So, now we're almost at full capacity again too with tenants. So I was thinking maybe we should get a new garbage can, a big one. We had a.
It's like dump garbage.
Like the big
dumpster.
one. Yeah, we had building 5, they were tossing everything in the sign of limited garbage. So we had that issue with some. And I think that it'd be okay if we got another one. just 'cause
We have
that's-
2 out there right now.
Mhm. Yes, and they have a congregation of 75 people, the church.
I'm a little
So I
worried
know
about
they're gonna be putting a lot of garbage in there, and it's just, it'd be nice to have another garbage.
So do we own the garbage? And, or I thought that was like part of the lease through our.
We could maybe call Johnson.
I'll double check.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I would ask them.
I
That's,
mean,
I would
either
say
if
that
it
would
would
be.
be added, or maybe just like add a frequency of, like,
It also might just be really full right now because of, yeah. So we can always check.
yeah, I agree with it, yeah, keep maybe if it's like a issue for like 3 months, run it, okay, but if it's, yeah. just a-
Yeah,
Yeah.
something to keep that in.
And then Patricia Black, she'll know when we welcoming the new villagers, so Wendy Spencer will be taking over for her. And she's gonna be telling people a little bit more about the ordinances when she gets the folders out. So she goes right away after we find out somebody moved in, so maybe that can eliminate things like people little sentences and things like that they don't know about. So, we'll see how that works. I know Patricia, she said she might wanna come back at some point, but right now she's just very busy and depending on very happy.
And Wendy already got all the folders and all the, they already dropped it off on the before I came here. Oh, yeah.
And then one of the big things that's going on, we're looking into possibly hiring a new maintenance guy since Kurt is out right now. It doesn't have to be permanent, but we do need to get someone in. There's been a lot of issues since he had some pretty big shoes to fill.
So,
Jack of all trades, so.
I don't know if anybody knows, but I told Latiria, and I've already talked to John Leonard, and I've not talked to Kurt or Laura about this because they just have their things are pretty full. But Lisa's wife, Terry Gunn, across the street from us, like kitty corner from me, I already talked to him, because he is a, like, jack of all trades, has all the tools, does all sorts of stuff like this. And I just approached him, because I'm like, do you still have a job? Like, would you be interested? And he said, this is what I do, and I would totally be interested in helping out and
Great.
like being hired. So he might go on a little tour with John Leonard. John's on vacation right now. My biggest concern is I don't want to burn out John and Dale with Kurt not being here. And John does all of our grounds, and Dale does some inside stuff, but John is not comfortable doing anything inside. That was all Kurt. And it's really hard not having him on staff right now. And I don't want him, I do know that he probably also, maybe he's not worrying about us, but I feel like he also is probably worrying about us. And that is not helpful. So I think that's where we're gonna start, is seeing if Terry is interested in this. He lives right here, which I think is a huge, and John Leonard also lives right across the street from Linda. And I just think it might be a really good fit. And I feel like he would just take things on, like, he's like, Ellie, I have all the tools. Everything that you would need for me to fix anything, I could do. And I was like, that would be great, I love you. So, just, that's what we're kind of, I've gotta talk to Kurt, or talk to Laura, just to let her know that I wanna take this off his plate. And then if Kurt miraculously is doing better and wants to come back, then that will happen, but I just feel like we need to take that off. Okay.
And then the t-shirts, I did order them and they will be ready tomorrow. So there was a little bit of a hiccup just because of the holidays, so we'll have them for the next Tuesday Taylor.
Oh,
I will give you all a call and come get your t-shirts.
Or I can always deliver.
And then a little bit of information about the speed detection unit. It was recorded that about 80 to 90% of the time people were actually doing speed limit.
when it was on Lathrop or when it was on paper?
It was on Lathrop.
Slow down, right?
Yeah.
We need an invisible one.
Was it hit out here?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yep, so I did follow up with them.
It was hit up
I'm waiting
front.
for a little
Imagine that.
more
We ran into
information for the other
I'm not surprised.
Lathrop. But I think we still need to get the flashing stop signs because we don't want a fatality or anything like that.
So we need to,
It's just, people are still speeding.
Yeah.
It's always,
And
accidents, so I don't know how that information.
we need to talk to Ernie
Okay,
about
well.
flashing signs to get on that, because that's something he said he might be able to help us with.
Good.
Okay. Anything else?
And the last thing, I will be doing another training on budget at the end of this month with the week, so I'm excited about that with the budget coming up again. So that's one thing, and last but not least, I still wanna, when we do talk about the budget, I do wanna talk about AI, using it on the village website, things like that, because it makes things a lot easier. It's kinda like when you go to Walmart, you used to have people, but now you can go and check out by yourself. So if you go to the village website, you type in something like fences, a lot of information comes from fences in the ordinance. Instead of people having to call, things like that, it can eliminate a lot of time. And it's very informative for people.
And maybe we could maybe have links for like the dog licenses and things like that. I think it would be really helpful. So
It's like
we're
a one-stop
really,
shop for your information.
we're really trying to look at this and make it work. And that'd be another thing, if we have any suggestions on updating our websites. There's a lot.
My understanding is that Microsoft is going to be opening up essentially a, I would say it's like kind of like a consulting type thing that, don't quote me on this, but my understanding secondhand is that they're going to actually be providing organizations with like free kind of consulting on how to integrate AI into their work. And that's for all kinds of different entities, and I would imagine local government
Would be
could
involved.
be one of them.
Okay.
So I would look into that, and if you don't have a point of contact at Microsoft, I can get you connected to them.
Okay.
Someone,
Yeah, I don't know that that's started yet, but
Yes.
I think they're going to be doing that.
thank you
Okay.
so much.
Yeah.
Yeah, we would love that. I keep hearing so much about AI, and
Yeah.
now I'm seeing how important it is.
It's interesting.
Yeah. Very informative. That was my report.
She had a lot.
Pretty much wraps it up.
I kept giving her stuff. I was like, yeah, well, actually you gave yourself all of that. And I was like, yeah, that sounds good. Okay,
Brain to run it, but
so let's get through the rest of our agenda quite quickly here, I think we'll go
it
fast.
won't keep it.
Old business, I just want to discuss the yard stakes, or, we don't have a current ordinance.
Right.
We can create an ordinance if you want. I will say, Lateria and I we drove through the village a while ago and kind of looked at where yard stakes were and kind of asked people to take out metal stakes, really take out the short ones,
Yes.
take out the rebar.
Mhm.
Most have been removed.
Okay.
A couple people are not very happy with us. A couple people are really happy that we sent out letters and asked in the village newsletter to take out stakes or replace. I guess my biggest question, and it's just the safety hazard of the short stakes and the rebar, like,
Right.
come on. I don't have a problem with people having stakes if they're not lethal. I really don't. Like, this is not hard. And also, for the beauty of the village, they just look crummy. Like, what are we doing?
It is weird in this village that, like, you drive, around, like, Pleasant Lake, there's a little stake over there.
It's just,
It's an
I don't,
anomaly here.
and I understand if you're planting grass
Correct.
and you want to make sure your grass grows,
100%.
fine. But also, this is not, I'm like, beyond, I am so irritated, like, come on, people.
Plus, they don't own, I mean, we,
Yes, it's, yeah,
it's not their property to
Right,
begin with.
right,
So
so,
it'd be nice by asking.
and we're really
before
worried
we
about our
even-
grass this much, like, there's so many bigger things to worry about
Mhm.
in the world.
Mhm.
So, do you want me to put on the agenda next month? Would you like to create an ordinance that says you can have stakes from this time to this time and then no longer? Or do we just let it be
Is
and
there,
see how it goes? Because everybody has taken them out except for the people with the rebar, which is on,
Oh, it's still there?
yes, for sure.
yeah, the
Um,
rebar, come on.
So we're by the park.
No, it's over by my house, right around the corner on East Elmwood.
Yeah.
There's still rebar there, and then there's a few, like Kathy Wells has some in front of her house, because she said somebody stole her orange stakes, so she put in heavier materials. I have a hard time believing that. Sorry, Kathy. And there's some on, and a new resident, we sent her a letter, and she just put up stakes for, I don't know why. I don't know,
What
like,
is the fashionable thing to do in the neighborhood?
I think she thought everybody else doing
Well,
it.
this year it seems like,
A lot.
what? Everyone's doing it. So,
Well, because somebody did it, so I'm gonna do it too.
I was gonna say,
It's
no, it seems like you do.
so my comment would be, is there a way to find out another municipality or village or whatever, and find their wording on
Yeah.
something that they've done in the past to see kind of a pattern, like a template?
Or maybe have them, but not as many, like, maybe have few.
Yeah, I think we have to put something in place, because otherwise, yeah, they'll pull them up, but they'll put them back in. Or it's just, I mean, I hope it's one of those things where in 5 years, we look at the ordinance and be like, this is the stupidest ordinance, why do we have to do this, why would anybody do this? Which,
Because one time,
because for some reason,
that one guy,
I mean, and I left mine up later than because of the Amazon trucks, I left them, I didn't leave them into the spring.
I get, and
They're
people
not up
say
now.
it's the mailman, it's the delivery drivers,
It's the
they're
delivery
I
drivers.
can sort of get in,
and the
with
snowplow, which we're.
the snowplow. When I
That
first
one is
moved
kind of
in,
hard because you can't see the
See, the
road
thing
much.
is, I think the reason people are staking their yard is when we had that other snowplow company, they would come through and they would do their own staking, and then they would take them all out. And then
Correct.
maybe some people would throw some in every now and again.
I bet that's what
So
happened.
that's,
Well, and
yeah,
I
that's
bet you're right.
huge.
Those are 5 feet tall, though, too, that they use.
Right.
so-
So maybe, do we just need to stake the neighborhood ourselves in the fall? And then that solves, like as a village, maybe that's
Yeah.
something we put on, John,
Do that.
the lawn at
That's a
some
good idea.
point, just, I mean, stakes aren't that expensive, and we just own them, and then we put them up and say, okay, and then there's not like, okay, I have to put them up because the village didn't.
Right.
And
Yeah.
then they'd be all consistent.
Well, and when we,
It used to be.
when we hired when we hired asphalt contracting for, snowplow, Ernie asked people not to stake their yard because the snowplows would just take away the stakes. And then they really did tear up the lawns. They did a terrible job. And I'm hoping, I mean, we have a new snowplow contract that we have to, where we put a bid out, so we're waiting, but,
The other company put them out,
I
and
think
there
it's,
was not a problem.
right.
I think it's an easy enough thing that as a village, we can add that to, I mean, maybe have the kids do it, maybe, make a.
Well, I'm hoping maybe if we get a new
Something.
snow company that they just put in the stakes and
Yeah,
then
and
nobody
you
has
guys
to worry
probably
about it.
not gonna pay stake it for what you think is
Mhm.
necessary.
Ernie said they would go with mailboxes. Well, I hate to say it, but half of the street does not have mailboxes.
Well, and that's, and when I talked to my neighbor.
One side does, one side doesn't, so you
Yes.
can't tell.
When I moved in, I asked my neighbor across the street about that, I'm like,
had
yeah,
hers taken
staking.
out last
And I
year.
said, you know, I don't really,
And the
he's
one
like,
on Zero.
because you have mailboxes and they can clearly seal the mailboxes, so. And sure enough, when I first moved in.
That was not a big deal,
It
yeah.
was staked on one side, it was staked on the other side. I
So-
started staking because of the Amazon trucks.
Okay,
Well, that was it too, yeah.
so I am not,
Yeah.
just to be clear, Ken, you would like wording, just to see,
Yeah.
and we think hopefully it'll just take care of itself. We do not want to create an
Well,
ordinance.
what we could do is say something along the lines, like I said, if you look at other examples, but look, please do not put any stakes in your yard. If you would like to put stakes in your yard because you're planting grass, it has to be approved. Other than that, we'll have them, or we will put them up in the fall and take them down in the spring. That way you don't have to worry about your mailbox or your lawns being taken out or destroyed or whatever it is that you worry about to cause you to put stakes in your yard.
I think the simple fact that you're getting pushback by asking people to take out metal stakes in the yard is the reason that we have to have an ordinance to do it, because you're asking people to do it and they're not doing it.
Most
So we
people
don't want
have,
them- Most people have, which is fine.
because we put in the letter, this is
But the
not
fact-
a village ordinance, however, we are considering making it one.
But the fact that people are pushing back, like, really, fine, you can just be civil, yeah, I want to, this seems like the silliest, stupidest thing.
Yeah.
But if you're gonna push back, okay, it's a safety thing, we need to enforce that it's.
So you would
especially
like,
since we
would you
recognize-
like to see it as an ordinance?
I know, but yes, I think it's silly, but.
Okay, so at the next board meeting, I'm gonna come up with, some wording. And I will also ask, Mark Kingston, our lawyer, if he's got any good wording for us.
Yeah, I mean, like, a common sense. It
Well,
doesn't have to be, you know,
I-
now that you're
I
gonna find
understand.
it, just,
Yeah,
Why it started, because
oh, no
the
one.
football company used to do it, no one had to worry about it, never had complaints.
Yeah.
So,
okay.
Yeah, they
It's just
are
that-
just used to the middle.
now they're taking
It
it
was
upon
after the
themselves.
roads probably too, when all the, you know, everything was dug up and we
Yeah.
sodded or
And
whatever.
there's a lot of people want to be coming in, I get it, but we're, when I have people come visit my house, so what is going on in your neighborhood with these snakes?
Yeah,
That's an excellent question.
And the reverb.
And the rebar is
terrible.
makes me nervous.
Okay, I'm gonna move on. I will come back to that one more time with some wording and possibly pass it. I need to appoint some, board members. So,
Oh, yeah.
finance chair is often, is our lovely trustee Kelly Stein. Would you accept another year appointment to be our finance chair?
If you trust me to do it, I will.
Yes, thank you. And lead commissioner trustee Ken Hinkle, would you also consider being appointed for another year as the lead commissioner?
He's the lead dude.
I'm in charge of weed,
I know.
so yeah.
And trustee Brian Johnson, would you consider still being the street and sewers commissioner?
Get rid of those stakes.
Okay, you can help me with it. And then Barb and Linda, it's not board appointed, but they are our events committee. And then Laura is our streetlights and signs commissioner, and we'll talk about that in a minute. And then Tom Phelan is everybody else for the planning commission is still up to date. It's still myself, it's trustee Hinkle, it's trustee Johnson, and then Tom Phelan, we sent him an email, we're just waiting to hear back. Lee Peterson.
6 years I've been on the board, I've been to one plan commission meeting.
Wendy, Spencer, and Anna Fishke, they're all fine. And our Board of Appeals still has everybody, they're not up until 2025, so no reason to worry about that. Okay, the next point of discussion is regarding the installation of the large window in Building 2. And I kind of brought this up last time, and we got some more information. And Ken and I actually talked a little bit as well. So the very big window in Building 2, Shelley in the spa does not want to replace. She's very upset that we're replacing it because it gives her this whole aesthetic to her spa and her space. And I get it because it does let in a lot of light. It's a very old window, I keep telling her though. Siding Limited did give us money back. We have the windows, but they gave us back $375. Not a lot of money, but they gave us back money. The only thing I said to Shelley is if we do have to replace it and you're still leasing from us, we may have to like maybe split the cost of maintenance with you. I just don't know what that'll look like. And I think she's here for, she has at least 10 years.
Oh,
8 more years.
So, that's the only thing. I guess I'm okay with her leaving it. But I also want her to know the reason we're doing the windows is to keep in heat, keep in air conditioning, not let it leak. I don't know if she's had any problems with it. She says she hasn't. Bored.
So
I know Ken just wanted to be done. He just wanted to like forget it.
My concern is that if we don't do it now,
yeah, I don't
5,
want
8, 10, whenever she's long gone or we are, then we're gonna have these windows sitting around, and all this will be forgotten,
Right.
and no one will know what to do. So, like, I mean,
She's really mad.
I have 2 thoughts about it. One would be, just do it. It's not the property. You're a renter, and not to be jerks about it, but we have to maintain our buildings.
Right.
And the reason we have to do that is so that, we can get the revenue from doing that, and they have to be maintained to a certain level.
Yeah.
Done. Now, if we want to make an exception, I guess, point on that would be, we gotta make so sure that.
Well, it would be part of her lease.
Yeah, that was my next point.
She would have to sign something
She would have to.
in her lease that
Yes.
says she would
When
pay.
you leave, you have to pay to get these installed.
Has it been designated as a failed window?
Well, then we just replaced all the windows.
Right.
So,
Right.
no, when I talked to the man who's Siding Unlimited,
Right,
he said,
okay,
they're old.
okay.
But it's not necessarily failed. It's nothing, it's not leaking or anything.
Yeah. I just feel like all maintenance on that window, if there's a draft and she wants it caulked, that's on her to do.
Well, we talked to her about that too.
Yeah.
Like, if anything needs to be happening with this window, you gotta pay for it.
100%.
But we
I-
haven't got
That's
much
what I don't
else
want, I don't want to
to
come back. to
Yeah,
her.
she's
We're
not
trying to
great.
be proactive and then,
No?
All right,
ends up costing us twice in the end.
well, that's what I'm gonna tell her too.
Yeah.
So,
Like, I don't care, but
The cost will definitely go up.
100%.
It's like, if this is the whole window, this much of this one.
she's very good at like, I have a conversation and then she kind of doesn't answer after a while. We tried to go talk to her today, she wasn't.
Yeah, so the window would just go in storage and then we'll have to pay labor later.
No,
She wants to live there. I want to be so much nicer, much good than that.
and what's going to be after that?
But we haven't got feedback, so I think if we don't get feedback, we probably should just put the window.
Agreed.
You could tell her. What's the point? 50-50. She's already mad at me. She's like, I can't believe you didn't bring me in to talk about these windows. And I was like, Shelley, it wasn't up to you. It was up to the board.
Yeah, you can have an opinion on it.
And no, like, nobody was asked.
The window is still like 80% of what it was.
Oh, I just,
So,
anyway.
so I guess so what is the difference, this is a big window, is it, she going to have less light, or is there like what is it about the aesthetic?
It's a picture on her website showcases that window. That's why people come there.
It's not.
Yeah, she did take pictures.
And then my husband started anyway there, and I was like, no, don't even shut up right now. He was like, well, I can see it.
So
Oh.
the window goes all the way up, like, to
You
like
know.
it's like tall, like up to
You've been in
this
the-
red line. But it would come down to like kind of
So
where
it
this
would
window
be,
is.
so the side door window would be.
It would be significant.
Okay.
Yeah, maybe like
It's
30%
like, yeah,
smaller.
maybe, maybe.
But-
I am 40.
Yeah, and then
I just
it'd be
think
like bigger windows and less of them, because I think it's maybe like 20 windows there now.
and that's fine, I just think.
I told
She just
her.
needs to take responsibility for the window that goes wrong. I just don't want 6 months from now, a year from now, 2 years from now, this thing's drafting now, we're freezing, and because it doesn't provide enough insulation or something like that.
Right.
And now we need to fix this because now my, and I don't know, I'm not saying that she would, but, come back and say, okay, now we're full, and we have to use extra space here because it's
Well,
drafting.
she knows that we have the windows. I said, we can't return the windows, we already have them.
The custom.
But we also cannot replace it as is because it would cost us $80,000.
If she's willing to take on the liability of keeping it, I guess. Okay.
Okay,
And I'll follow up with her.
we will put our heads together.
Yes.
We'll go together.
It's your vote, yeah.
Okay, so I have a couple of suggestions for, we need to appoint a new trustee to fill Laura Root's seat. Did everybody see Laura's? I had to have Laura put this in writing that she has to step back from the board. She's very sad. But with Kurt having cancer, it's just too hard. So Chris and I talked, because I just wanted to ask him, because I know when I joined the board, it was in the middle of the year, like there was just an open seat. And he just wanted to tell me there's 3 different ways we could do this. And we have to decide tonight what works. First thing is go through a process of appointing someone new. We could hold a special election or placing it up in the upcoming August or November election, or we could leave it vacant until next April. Leaving it vacant until next April makes me a little nervous, because if Ken's already gone and then somebody's gone, like, we're gonna run into, we can't have a meeting because enough board members aren't here.
Yeah, it was February, March, okay, fine.
Yes, but that just seems like a really long way. If we want to appoint, I want to look at my phone. I wrote this down and I write in shorthand and then I don't know what I really meant. And now I get mad at myself. That's not what I meant. If you're going to appoint, I would confirm that at the meeting, and then between this and your August meeting, allow residents to apply if interested. I think that's the best way to go. I've already gone out and shared with a few people, like, we're going to have an open seat if you're interested. We meet, once a month. It'd be great to have people on the board think about it. I have not gotten a lot of positive feedback. I'm like, yes, I'm thinking about it, but I'm trying really hard. So what would you guys like to do?
Didn't you bring up to offering it to the one that was on the ballot?
I did, and I called him, and he does not want to take
He
it.
doesn't want to.
That was my first. Yes, I called. He started a new business, and he has
Oh,
meetings
okay.
like every Thursday, and he's like, I just can't.
Sure.
I also talked to Andy Bauer, because the one we're getting water for the park, because I think he'd be a really good person to be on the board. And he also has meetings on Thursdays. He's like, I just can't make it work, but one of these years I really do want to be on the board. And he's pretty young. But if we had residents apply, what I went through with Pat Black and one other person, and it might have been Adam Pischke actually, we had to be interviewed in like the board meeting.
Yes.
We asked questions of all the candidates, and then because there were 2 seats, I was given a 2-year position, and Pat was given 1 year, and then she was up for re-election, and she was re-elected. And then Adam was not given a position. So if we're lucky enough to have that many candidates, that'd be amazing. But that's kind of what I think we should do.
Yeah, once upon a time, a million years ago, that's how it
Was-
was the ultimate in the scene. Was there was an opening, it's a long story, but there was an opening, and it was a public notice kind of thing put out, and I believe there was 8 candidates that stepped forward that wanted to be, considered.
Yes.
And that's exactly what it was. It was a council meeting, it was televised, the whole thing, and then each alderman asked questions, and we each answered all the same questions, exactly the same, and then they went into vote and selected your girl. So,
Good job, Kelly.
I know,
I
right?
just wanted the praise again.
No, but I'm just saying.
But I think
that
that's
was-
pretty much
I
what
think
we'll
that
do.
was the fairest thing.
Man,
across the
if we
board.
get 8 candidates in here,
I
I'll be
know we're gonna
shocked.
get it.
That'll be amazing.
No way.
But,
So if you could kindly spread the word, Latiria, I'll have her post something on Facebook that if any village residents are interested in an open seat, and then they should contact you, Latiria. And then I think then at the next board meeting, hopefully we have some people come forward, one person come
how
forward
much,
that says,
how much do we want to publicize this? Like, do we want to go to like Christine I and see if she would put a little out there too to advertise?
well, it's just, it can
I know it's
only
just
be,
little, but I don't know.
no, I
if we
feel
wanna
like,
keep it-
I feel like if we put it,
You know, kind of.
I feel if you talk it up and we put it on the Facebook page, it's funny. next week.
next week?
We could,
Make an announcement. there.
yeah. But they have to be in the village, that's why I don't want to go to Racine County.
I know, that's what I was like,
It's a little too big.
It's like,
Look at people from Mount Pleasant, like, I want to be on the village
Oh,
board.
yeah.
well, because part of it is
No, you
like,
don't live here.
what I don't want is, oh, I never heard about it, because you didn't publicize it, and I would have been interested, like, I'm just trying to figure out how to.
Well, and we have an email list that goes out to residents, but I mean, when Kendall also, when she sends out like information about with our, she could send that out as a blast
Yeah,
too.
yes, yeah.
So there's different ways around it.
This is looking for
No, but
necessarily.
if
We're
you're
going to do it.
publicizing,
We're going to go that way.
yeah. But if you have anybody that, if you are thinking of anybody, I asked Ernie if he wanted to come back.
Oh, I salute.
He said, oh, Ally, he did, he was like, oh, I'm too
Well,
busy
then-
right now, but
Well, then,
thanks for thinking of me.
well, then thinking ahead, you want to have, if you want to move quickly on it, then you would probably want to put together the list of questions.
Oh, yes,
Like,
for sure.
If you want each one of us to come up with a question.
And we have until
or
the
have
15th, that's an extra week.
them.
So
Okay,
we do have some time,
okay.
yes. And that will be the next step.
Do you want us to, are we going to go with the bank of questions?
That would be great.
Or do you want us to each come up with one?
I think Lateria will send out an email
Okay.
to give you a job.
Okay.
And I think if everybody could come up with a question,
Okay.
that would be great. And then if somebody has the same question, say Kelly already has that one, or, yes, I think that would be great. I think that's great. And it may be one or two questions that you could ask, one or
Sure.
two questions that you can ask. And then Lateria can kind of create a document and maybe send it out to you to see what people are saying, so you're not overlapping ideas. And then hopefully we have a good, at least a candidate would be great.
Yes.
I've talked to a couple different people, so we'll see. Okay, last item, resolution of accounts payable. Did everybody get a chance to sign?
Yes.
Okay,
I move to approve accounts payable.
okay. First by Hinkle,
I second.
second by trustee Bennett. Discussion?
No, but I did want to, on the vacancy, I do want to say that whoever the next person will be does have jurisdiction to go, so they need to be aware of that.
I know, I agree. I'm very sad.
Very nice.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, passed. And we are adjourned at 8:00.